Australia overnight, heard through Albury Wodongas, 2AY, Melbourne's 3AW, Bundaberg, 4BU, good morning, Mackay, 4MK, Rockhampton's 4RO, 2CC in Canberra, 2UE Sydney, Alice Springs, 8HA, wherever you're listening this morning. Come along as we join Nic Hayes, our media man, for his examination of a brand new program about to start on TV. Good morning to you, Nic.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Mark.
G'day, Nic.
Nice to have you with us as always, Nic. Now, breakfast television is about to be shaken up very, very soon.
Well, we haven't seen anything like this for a long time, Andrew. It's quite exciting. Channel 10 is taking a massive leap, and they're going to take on Channel 9, and they're going to take on Channel 7, and have a bit of a compete for the breakfast audience. And the breakfast audience is a very interesting one right around the country because being national TV, there's quite a lot of time differences between the Western Australia, the Melbourne, particularly during daylight saving, but it works. It works definitely along the eastern seaboard, from Melbourne to Sydney to Brisbane, and even Adelaide enjoys good breakfast television, and it's very exciting because I think Channel 10 really wants to shake it up, and they really want to take a bit of a bite out of 9 and 7 and their dominance.
The show's going to be called Wake Up, isn't it?
It is. It's Wake Up. It's in Channel 10, so it's James Matheson, Natasha Exelby and Natasha Belling. So people will probably know James Matheson. It's a younger sort of crew that they've put together. They're the guys that have sort of, maybe if you're in your 40s and you sort of grew up with them listening to music through the Channel 10s, 9s and 7s. They've worked for all the networks, but mainly Channel 10. You will have seen them probably come up on the project, or you'll have seen them. You'll see them at some point through the Channel 10. They're some of the Channel 10 favourites. They're quite intelligent, smart, good-looking, and they'll bring a nice little spice. But I think, Andrew, the big win, and I think this is where Channel 10 is doing something quite amazing here, is that they're going to broadcast down on Manly Beach in New South Wales.
Well, they're going to just be on the beach?
Just on the beach. So they're going to be doing it right in local New South Wales, which is one of the heartlands for breakfast television, and also too, for television generally, you want to own the New South Wales market. It's a very large, lucrative market, and they're doing it right in the heart and the homeland of Sydney. So they're really doing something quite smart.
Yeah, I'm picturing some sort of Perspex studio they'll broadcast from. I mean, they won't actually be outdoors, will they?
Oh, no. It'll be very much confined. It'll be very much controlled. But it's a great little scene to be doing it. I don't think you could get any more Australian than Manly Beach, and it is something that is quite unique. 9 obviously broadcasts its work in Sydney, as does 7. They're very much in the Sydney markets, and it's very much the hub and the hype of all breakfast television.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? And you get this breakfast TV, national breakfast TV, seems to always come out of Sydney, doesn't it? Not Melbourne, not Brisbane, but Sydney.
It's always Sydney. Sydney is the heart and homeland of media. If you're not operating in Sydney, you're not really operating at all. And I don't mean any disrespect to those living in Brisbane, to living in the regional centres, but it is really where the heartland is. It's where the money is. It's the market they want to own. Interesting thing, the project on Channel 10, I talk to those guys quite often, and when they are always looking to engage Sydney content, Sydney experts, because if you've got Sydney engaged, then you're going to raise, you've got a bigger chance of increasing your numbers. The project used to get sort of the heights of 1 million viewers nationally. It's probably in the vicinity of 800 to 900,000 these days, but that's really where the market growth is. If you can own Sydney, then you're doing very well. But that also brings in another problem. When it becomes too Sydney-centric, then other states start to turn off, and we seem to focus a little too heavily on what goes on in our biggest city. Yeah,
this must be, of course, just to explain for people, you are, I'm talking to you from the West, and I imagine you will not be getting the program.
No, we will get it.
Oh, you get it, do you? I'm sorry.
They've made a commitment to bring in local news. So I'm going to be interested to see how they go away and do this. I mean, there's ads going on that they're talking that they'll be broadcasting from Mount Hawthorn in Fremantle. They'll be doing all sorts of places. I think there's a real commitment to do it. And just on Saturday, the West Australian Media Awards were on, and I caught up with the director of Channel 10 here, and he's very, very excited. They can see that this is going to be a really big injection of local content into a program. How they're going to do it with a 3-hour time difference, I'm not exactly sure, because when it's 6:30 in Sydney, it's 3:30 in the morning here in Perth.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how they do it. But look, some of the segments probably will be pre-recorded. If you compare it to US TV, particularly their breakfast programs, it is a very controlled, it is very organised. Some of it is pre-recorded, and you've also got issues. They've got similar issues from the east and the west coast. The sort of time differences are there. In fact, in some cases, they're quite large. They will get it sorted. They will get it organised, but it's going to be quite a challenge for them.
Now, interestingly, after Wake Up with James and Natasha and Nuala, is it Nuala?
Yep, Nuala, yep.
Yeah. It goes into another show, really, is launched too. This is Studio 10.
Yeah, Studio 10. Now, Ida Buttrose is making her way back into television, into morning television. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
I think Ida has been running off quite with the focus that's been on her on programs that have been made about her, and particularly how Channel 9 and Women's is it Women's Day? Oh God, now I'm messing up.
I'm floundering too. Don't worry, Nick.
No, it's not Women's Day, and I'm gonna make a real mess of it. One of the listeners will remember which magazine that was. But Ida Buttrose is back, and that's fantastic. I think she's looking to deliver a smart, intelligent conversation in the morning. So look, Channel 10's not just going in with one show to capture an audience and then let that audience disappear. They're looking to create the audience from 6:30 in the morning right through to the late parts of the morning, and they're looking at a health show as well coming on. So
it's quite a new package, isn't it? It's been whispered in my ear, by the way, it was Women's Weekly that Ida Buttrose was associated with. And I've got to also mention that the last time 10 tried something in the morning with that New Zealand guy was an absolute fiasco. And then The Circle, which followed, didn't do that well either, apparently.
Yeah, shows that floundered because I think that there was a little bit too much around on the personalities and not around on the content. And that is always going to fail in any books. You'll note that the Today program and Sunrise, it's not just all about the personalities. There is really good quality content. And my hat goes off to the producers. I think they do an amazing job bringing it all together. Look, they do have it. I mean, Seven's got Koshy. There's no doubt that he is probably the big player in it there. But with Melissa Doyle disappearing and Samantha Armitage coming in, they've done very well. In fact, Seven now is the one to beat.
But are you saying that Melissa Doyle was a bit of a turn-off, are you?
Oh, look, Melissa Doyle, look, the numbers are already in. With Samantha Armitage coming in, their numbers have increased. In fact, they are now the number one breakfast television program going around. Melissa Doyle, I don't know what it was. It was just time to let her go, and her time was done. But what could have been a backflip, and seeing Samantha when she came in see a bit of a downfall in ratings, has only done the opposite. It's actually gone up. So Samantha Armitage has done very well there for Channel 7
yes,
and for the Sunrise program.
And I believe, well, obviously it's changed now, but in Melbourne, the Channel 9 morning show with Carl and Lisa outrated the 7 breakfast show for ages, but maybe that's changed now with the arrival of Samantha Armitage, as you say.
Look, it's always been, there hasn't been a huge amount in it over the years. 9 has always dominated. It's always been 9 on the East Coast, and it's 7 over here in the West. But look, Koshy and Samantha are doing a fantastic job, and they're really starting to peg that back. And in fact, I'm pretty certain that the last numbers that came through suggested that 7 was in front. But look, when a new show comes up, what you'll see, and it's going to be fantastic for all the viewers, is that they get very, very competitive. And when they get competitive, sometimes the program directors and the news directors and the big wigs in the networks then start opening up the purse strings and start giving away bits of money, cars, etc. So Channel 9 and the Today program particularly, I think they're the ones that are a little bit more nervous than 7, is they're giving away over $750,000 worth in cars and cash.
I know, I've seen the promotions. My God, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, also, am I right in saying this? You probably will know, Nick. I know it's a question on the spot without notice, but I believe radio outrates TV until during that time slot, in the breakfast time slot. There are more people actually listening to radios than there are watching a television screen.
Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, it's breakfast radio, and also, too, you're in the car, you're driving to work, you're going places. The radio's in the background while you're having breakfast. It doesn't require you to be watching the TV. Radio always dominates, and whether it be local or national radio, it doesn't really matter, because it's a medium that you can listen to in the background, and you don't have to be focusing purely on that. Where morning television has done very well, and that is with housewives, with families, young families, those that are sort of slowly getting their way. They're also very good with the 25 to 45-year-old age bracket. They seem to be the ones either they don't have kids, or they're actually just got kids, and that's still in the background. That's the demographic they're after. And then the older audience kicks in a little bit later, post sort of 8 a.m, when you're looking at heading down towards more magazine-style programming, where you start learning how to use your trim fit and all those other exercise equipment that we just don't end up using anyway.
That's right. Often you see them actually on hard rubbish collection days too.
There's a hard rubbish collection just out the front of our place right now, and I've seen 3 of them in our street alone.
That and old TVs. It's rather sad comment on society, but we're not here to do that particularly. Now, patience is going to be required, because they're coming up against 2 very well-established shows here on with the 7 and 9 show, and 10 are going to have to wait a while. I mean, it's just not going to take off like that, I would imagine.
No, look, it won't. There'll be a lot of excitement to begin with, and I think there will be a lot of fanfare. There will be a lot of interest in the show and how it comes together. There'll be a lot of people that'll sit there and say this is no good. There'll be a lot that'll sit there and say this is fantastic. But Channel 10 is going to need patience, because you highlighted the 2 biggest failures that 10 has actually put together, and they haven't got a good track record, Channel 10, of putting these programs together. They do tend to lose patience, and it is all about the ratings. But look, they've got a good little mix. They've got a good location. They're just going to need a little bit of patience leading up towards the Christmas break, because we will go out of ratings period, and I think it's a good little test run to see what kind of audience they can capture early on, get a little bit of confidence, get a little bit of a feel for how their program comes together, and then they can go away and look at 2014 to be the year of Wake Up. And I think it's great to have it. I think the 3 networks, the 3 commercial networks, need to have something like this. It's great for media, it's great for those working in it, and it's great for us to see something, a bit of an alternative to what 9 and 7 have been offering. Because sometimes, I don't know, the listeners might have something to say about this, sometimes when you're watching 9 and watching 7 in the morning, you've got to take a little while to work out which one you're actually watching, because they both look very much the same.
They do, and covering the same stories often around the same time if you flick from channel to channel. Nick, we better wrap it up here, but it's, as always, excellent to talk to you, and we'll speak again in a few weeks. And maybe in a month or 2, you can give us a bit of an analysis of how Wake Up is going, and the program that comes after it with Ida Buttrose, shooting at 10 on the network.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll just and love to get the listeners' view on it when it does launch on the 4th. That's next Monday. So looking forward to seeing how it all rolls out.
Thank you, Nic Hayes.
Good on you, Andrew. Good on you, Mark.